Top 5 Real-Life Ghost Ships No One Can Explain. Please subscribe Cardo guys. Ghost ships aren't always as scary as they first sound, they usually refer to real, physical ships out at sea without any crew. Here is the top 5 list scary ghost ship. 5. The Resolven. Discovered in August 1884 by the sailors of the HMS Mallard, the Resolven was found drifting at sea. The Mallard signaled to the crew but received no response, so they decided to board the ship. On the ship, there were no signs of trouble, in fact, it looked as if it had been recently lived in. The galley had a fire lit and food was ready on the tables, but nobody was around to eat it. There were no obvious signs of structural damage or a fight. The only clue as to what happened to the Resolven was that the captain's entire stash of gold coins was gone, and the lifeboat was also missing. The Resolven was taken in and refitted with a new crew, but its old one was never found again. 4. Korean People's Army Ghost Boats. A strange array of 12 wooden boats were found floating around Japanese shores. By the state of the boats, they had been out to sea for a long time, but what's even more mysterious was their contents of 22 corpses. Some of the bodies had their heads cut off, and one ship contained 6 skulls. The only clues of their origin were that one boat was labeled Korean People's Army, and another contained a cloth that looked like a tattered part of the North Korean flag. The reason behind these ghost boats is still a mystery. 3. The Seabird. The Seabird was a 1750 merchant vessel that grounded herself against Rhode Island. The ship was devoid of all humans, but it still contained a dog and a cat, which happily greeted those who investigated the ship. After the ship was investigated, several clues were discovered. Coffee was boiling on the stove, breakfast was laid out, tobacco could be smelled, and coins were visible on tables, but there was no crew. The ship was still in perfect condition, with no signs of disaster or mutiny. The only clue to the crew's disappearance was the ship's most recent log, Branton Reef sighted. The ship's emergency longboat was gone, but both the longboat and the crew never turned up again. 2. Manfred Fritz Bajorat. A battered yacht found by local Filipino fishermen had nobody piloting it, but its single crew wasn't missing. In fact, the body of the German sailor Manfred Fritz Bajorat was found within, slumped on his desk reaching for the radio, after a heart attack took his life. Even stranger, his entire body had appeared to be mummified. He went missing from 2009 to 2016, so people believed he had been dead for several years, which would easily explain why he went missing. The actual mummification was predicted to be due to the dry salty air and would have taken a few weeks to start. Then the autopsy came in with some shocking news. Manfred had died from his heart attack just a week previously. The reasons Manfred went dark for so long, and how his body mummified so quickly, is unknown. 1. Mary Celeste. If you read about various real-life ghost ships around the world, you'll notice a lot of them are nicknamed as a certain country's own Mary Celeste. It's only fitting we take a look at one of the more famous ghost ships to exist. In November 1872, Benjamin Briggs boarded the Mary Celeste as its captain, along with his wife, daughter, and 8 shipmates. The goal was New York to Italy, but the trip didn't last more than a month before it turned up without denizens. The ship had its lifeboat missing but had 6 months' worth of food and water on board and no signs of structural damage or fight. The ship has various theories: mutiny, pirates, sea monsters, a vengeful slave, and an explosion from crude alcohol. Whatever the cause was, the Mary Celeste lives on as the most famous ghost ship mystery ever. Please subscribe,